Hello, good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening, whenever you are watching, listening, or watching this. Welcome. Today, I want to talk about anger, and I want to give you 6 ways to help you calm your anger. And I don't know about you, but I've experienced this burning rage before that is anger. And for me, it feels like a hot lava starting in my chest and then going all the way up and then like hi Jess, consuming my whole head, and I get so hot and I start shaking. So that's how intense anger feels like to me. My central nervous system is on full, I'm shaking, and it doesn't feel nice, right? I don't remember the last time I felt this way because it was such a long time ago, but I absolutely remember it like it was yesterday. So what does anger feel like to you? And the thing with anger, and it's the same with every emotion that we experience, is anger is here to communicate with us. So there's a reason for this anger. So this fiery emotion that you feel, it's also a justified way to experience to process what you're experiencing. So when we feel anger, whether it's due to loss, betrayal, hurt, trauma, or violation, it's important to honour our anger and give it space to be there, as with every feeling, because it's giving it that space and acknowledgement, and then taking a deeper look at what's really going on that caused this fire within us. That's where we start learning more about ourselves. But when we don't learn to feel our anger and let it be there, when we decide to react instead of responding, we cause harm and suffering to others as well. Because suffering is fighting reality. So not only are you going to be suffering yourself if you fight your anger, you're going to be causing suffering to others because you're not acting from your conscious mind. You're acting on that impulse, that anger consumes you, right? So when we don't consciously make space for the anger to be there, we do things that we later on regret. So we need to take responsibility for our anger. And I'm going to give you 6 steps to actually do this, to first of all calm yourself down, and then what to do next. So number 1, before I go into that, by the way, actually, before I let you in on all the juicy details, I want to talk about my group coaching that's called Victoria's Secrets to Self-Love. It's an amazing group. I absolutely love it in there. And I go live twice a month. We have a theme of the month. We have a book club of the month. I give you workbooks to work through, videos to watch, and all the good stuff. So if you would like more information about that, just let me know. It's a really affordable way of being coached by yours truly. So number 1 with how to deal with anger then is drop into your body and feel, first and foremost. The first thing I advise you to do when you feel this rage of anger coming up is to notice whereabouts in your body you actually feel it. So like I shared with you previously, I feel it in my chest. It's like this red hot lava, and it goes up and it consumes my whole head. And it's hot and it's intense and it doesn't feel nice. And then when you notice whereabouts you feel it in your body, start to notice the physical response your body has to this anger. So are you shaking? Are your fists clenched? Are you hot? Like, is your jaw like tight? Maybe you feel a strong desire to scream or to shout or to run away or to fight, whatever. It can be different for each individual. So when you've noticed how you feel and how it's expressing in your body, take some time to experience whatever's coming up for you. So sit with your feelings or pace the floor if you feel like you need to run, but pay attention to where you feel it in your body and how you feel it in your body. And remember that nothing is permanent. The emotion will pass through you if you allow its space to be felt. It's when we stuff things down, like Jess just very rightly said, she loves that saying, suffering is fighting reality. When we're fighting our emotion and trying to stuff it down and dealing with it another day, that's when we start suffering, and that's when the emotion never seems to leave us because we don't give it the space. So notice how, whilst giving yourself the space to feel this anger, that initial intense feeling does start to lessen as time goes on. So one more point before I move on to tip number 2 is our thoughts cause our emotions. I talk about this all the time. Our thoughts cause our emotions in the first place, and often our thoughts can keep fueling the anger. So notice whether your thoughts are adding fuel to the fire or water to the fire, no pun intended. And choose to think thoughts that actually calm you down. Try to look at the situation from a neutral perspective and take yourself out of the equation. So like I said, tip number 1 is drop into your body and feel where this anger is coming up. Feel what your physical body is reacting to. And number 2 is slow down and make space. So when we feel this emotion of anger, it often brings with it a sense of urgency, like I must do something about this right now, like I'm absolutely fuming, we must do this, this and this. And yes, whilst it is important to address what's happened, it's more important to slow down, because when we don't, we do or say things that we often regret later on. Like I say, the anger just consumes us. So if you feel hot, take a layer of clothing off if it's possible. Go outside and get some fresh air, like touch something cold. If you feel like you're physically tense, just concentrating on your muscles and asking them to relax, that can help straight away. If you feel like you need to run, allow yourself time to walk or run to clear your head. And if you're with someone and you need to leave the situation, put yourself first and tell them you need time to digest what's just happened and you'll get back to them at another time. It's all about creating those internal boundaries for yourself. And if you feel like you want to fight when you feel angry, then find a way to let that pent up energy out. So you could go on a run, you could do a workout, you could hit a pillow or scream into a pillow. You could put on like a hardcore song and just like dance to it, whatever feels good to you. Smash some burpees out. Like that's something I would do, just like do something to get rid of that pent up energy. And if you feel like withdrawing from the situation, if you feel anger, but then you feel that sense of like just wanting to disappear somewhere, that means that you don't feel safe. So in this scenario, give yourself the permission to go and connect with something or someone that makes you feel grounded and safe. So for you, it might be going to the woods or connecting with nature, giving someone you love, asking them to give you a cuddle, or connecting with a blanket and a cup of hot chocolate. Whatever you need to do to ground yourself, however you feel, make sure you give yourself time to do that. So tip number 3 is focus on your breath. So deep breathing, it allows us to settle our nervous system almost right away. So simply by taking 5 deep, slow breaths, you will feel calmer. So you can try breathing to a count. So breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, and then hold for 4, and then do it again. If, like me and my friend Jess, you find it actually more difficult to concentrate on deep breathing, and it seems to make your tension worse, then instead of trying to change your breath, simply just focus on it. So just pay attention to where you feel it most in your body, and then just be an observer of your breath, and that will calm you down straight away, because we're getting out of the fight or flight mode and we're just coming back to ourselves and our breath, and that is calming within itself. So number 4 then, compassion, compassion, compassion. And anyone that's worked with me or anyone that follows me that compassion is the most important thing to me, because when we give ourselves compassion, we're not only acknowledging ourselves, we're giving ourselves that love and understanding, because nothing good ever comes from beating ourselves up. No matter what our Sergeant Major brain likes to think, that talking to ourselves like shit will make us stronger, will make us better, it doesn't. And I know this from personal experience as well. So give yourself compassion, number 4. Anger is uncomfortable, It's painful, it's not a nice emotion to feel, but meeting yourself with compassion, always with any emotion, is so, so crucial, because you can soothe yourself literally by just putting a hand on your heart, closing your eyes, and telling yourself affirmations such as, I'm sorry that this is happening right now, this is really difficult, or you don't deserve to be treated like this, or wow, that's a lot to deal with and process right now, I'm gonna take my time. So just send words of compassion to yourself, and that is everything. So number 5, this is a really, really interesting one, and this is my favourite one to discuss actually, is, are there any feelings beneath that anger? So when you, if you want to see an image for what I'm about to talk about, it's a really powerful image, just visit the blog, which I'll post later with this video on, because so often, after you've taken the time, by the way, to go through steps 1 to 4 initially, when you feel calmer and ready, start to get curious about what's going on underneath all of that anger. Because anger is so often used as a protective shield to shield us from an underlying, even more painful emotion, such as disappointment, such as shame. For example, most of us weren't taught how to deal with disappointment as a child or as an adult. So anger can come up in a way to protect ourselves from that painful emotion of disappointment. So you see where this is going. So peeling back the layers of the anger can show us what's really going on underneath, and it enables us to learn more about ourselves, and then from that place we can take steps to heal that core emotional wound. So the image that's on my blog, which you guys will see, is a picture of a man who's really, really, really angry. Then he takes his first mask off, and underneath that is like a red anger face. And then he takes that mask off, and underneath that mask is a picture of a blue crying face. Then he takes the crying face off, and it's actually his inner child sat in a ball crying, curled up, right? So his inner child is suffering, but the layers on top of that to protect himself is sadness and anger. So just get curious about where the anger is stemming from and what the root cause is. And last but not least, tip number 6 is respond, don't react. And again, I know I'm talking about anger today, but this can be with every single emotion that we feel. Giving ourselves that time and space to process all of the above, what I've just spoke about, is super important. And if we don't want to be consumed by anger and do things that we might regret later in an argument, for example, it's important to just give ourselves that time and to choose to, instead of react, choose to respond. Because a reaction happens in an instant, okay? So it's learned from the past, and it's driven and fueled by our emotions. So I'm going to say that again. A reaction to something happens in an instant, straight away. And the way we react is learned from our past experiences, and it's fueled by our emotions. Whereas if we respond, if we choose to respond instead of react, response takes a little longer. It includes the present moment, and it's empowered by awareness and clarity to the situation. Can you see the difference in those two things? There's so much more power and wisdom in responding instead of reacting. So when we choose to respond instead of reacting, we can zoom out of the situation and look at it from a natural perspective, not a natural perspective, a neutral perspective, sorry. Because our perspective, I'm getting tongue-tied, our perspective or perception, which is the same kind of thing, can be our power or it can be our prison, right? So when we zoom out and look at it all from a neutral view, I'm going to use the word view, it's easier to say, we can then take our emotion out of it. We can consider others that are involved in this situation, and also we can consider future consequences depending on what action we choose to take next. And when we choose to respond instead of reacting, there are many more options available to us when we respond. many options, such as standing up for ourselves, having that tough conversation, creating a boundary, ending a relationship, taking time out for yourself, or seeking additional support. So again, when we respond and not react, we've got a lot more space, a lot more time, a lot more awareness and clarity to then do the next best thing for us and for everybody else. And if anger is consuming you on a daily basis, reach out to someone. Remember, we always need each other. We're not in life to do the hard stuff alone. And I know people watching this fully know and experience this themselves. We're not supposed to do this thing called life alone. We're supposed to get help from people that we trust, okay? So reach out to people. If you need help processing your emotions in general, reach out to me. I can help you. I can offer you guidance straight away. I offer a free coaching call. Just reach out. Don't suffer alone. You've got this. Instagram, you've got this. Facebook, you've got this. YouTube, you've got this. But on a serious note, give yourself compassion, give yourself space. Let me just go through the bullet points one more time before I leave you for today. So number 1, drop into your body and feel where you feel that anger and emotion. Number 2, slow down and make space for yourself so you're not acting out of impulse. Number 3, focus on your breath. Try to take slow, deep breaths, or if you find that more difficult, just focus on your breathing, however that may be. Just focus on that. Come back to your breath. Number 4, compassion, compassion, compassion. Give yourself so much freaking love and compassion, and then give yourself some more. Number 5, again, my favorite one. What feelings are beneath that anger? Get curious with yourself. Start investigating what's actually really going on underneath it all. And number 6, choose to respond, don't react. And then I'm going to add another one, 6B, give yourself even more compassion and love. And reach out for help if you need it. Okay, I love you all. I will see you next week. If you liked this, please share. Please tag someone in it. You know, I'm here to help people. I'm here to change the world one person at a time. If you can help me in that, I'll be forever grateful. The world needs you. So, see you next time.